You know what's funny? While everyone's rushing into poultry farms and fish ponds, spending thousands on equipment and feeds, there's this one animal that literally eats your problems, breeds like clockwork, and you can turn into cash in less than 24 hours if you need to. I'm talking about goats. And no, this isn't your grandfather's farming advice. This is about building real wealth with one of the most misunderstood assets in agriculture. Stick with me, because what I'm about to share might completely change how you think about starting a farm. Let's start with the obvious stuff. When most people think about goats, they think meat, right? And yeah, that's fair. Goat meat is huge. We're talking about a global market worth over $6 billion. In many cultures, especially across Africa, the Middle East, parts of Asia, and the Caribbean, goat meat isn't just food. It's tradition. It's celebration. During festivals, religious holidays, weddings, naming ceremonies, people aren't looking for chicken. They want goat. They want that specific taste, that cultural connection. So yes, the meat market is real, and it's consistent. Then there's the small-scale farmer angle. For decades, goats have been the go-to for families who want to keep a few animals in the backyard. Low maintenance, doesn't need fancy equipment. Your kids can help take care of them. It's been the entry point into farming for millions of people worldwide. And honestly, there's nothing wrong with any of this. Goats for meat, goats for culture, goats as a small hobby farm project. These are all valid. But here's where most people stop thinking. They see goats as just goats. They miss the bigger picture. They miss the actual business hiding in plain sight. Because while everyone else is selling meat and calling it a day, there's a whole other level to goat farming that most people never tap into. And that's exactly what we're diving into next. All right, this is where Global Farm Value starts to make sense as a channel name. Because we're not just talking about farming, we're talking about extracting maximum value from every single asset on your farm. And goats? Man, they're loaded with hidden profit centers most people walk right past. 1. You can sell a goat in 24 hours. Liquid asset. Let's start with something that blows my mind. Goats are one of the most liquid assets you can own in agriculture. You know what liquid means in business terms? It means you can convert it to cash fast. Try selling a cow quickly. You'll wait. Try selling bulk crops. You need to find buyers, negotiate, arrange transport. But a goat? Post it online, make a few calls, and I promise you, within 24 hours, someone's coming to pick it up. This is huge for cash flow management. Life happens. Emergency school fees, medical bills, unexpected opportunity you need to jump on. Your goats aren't just sitting there eating grass. They're your emergency fund that's actively growing while you sleep. That's powerful. 2. Breeding stock. The real gold mine. Now, here's where most people mess up their whole goat business. They buy goats, raise them, sell them for meat, repeat. And sure, you make money, but you're leaving the real money on the table. Listen to this. A good doe, that's a female goat, can give birth twice a year, and she's not having one kid. She's usually having 2, sometimes 3. So let's do basic math here. You start with one healthy doe. Within 1 year, you could have 4 to 6 kids from just that one animal. Now imagine you started with 5 does instead of 1. But here's the thing nobody talks about. You don't have to sell those kids for meat. You can sell them as breeding stock to other farmers who are just starting out. And guess what? Breeding stock sells for way more than meat goats. We're talking double, sometimes triple the price, depending on the breed and quality. So while your neighbor is selling his goats for $80 to $120 for meat, you're selling yours for $200, $250, even $300 as breeding animals. Same goat, different positioning, completely different profit margin. That's strategy. 3. Goat manure, liquid gold for your soil. You want to talk about something farmers literally throw away? Goat manure. I'm serious. Most small farmers just let it pile up, maybe burn it, treat it like waste. Meanwhile, organic farmers and serious crop growers are out here buying manure for premium prices. Here's why goat manure is special. It's dry, it's pelletized naturally, it doesn't smell as bad as chicken or pig manure, and it's incredibly rich in nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium. The big 3 nutrients every plant needs. One mature goat produces roughly 400 to 600 pounds of manure per year. You've got 20 goats? That's literally tons of organic fertilizer. Now you can use it on your own farm and save money on chemical fertilizers. Or, and this is smarter, you bag it up and sell it. Organic farmers, home gardeners, people growing vegetables, they'll pay good money for quality goat manure. I've seen people sell a 50-pound bag for anywhere from $10 to $25, depending on the market. You do the math on how many bags you can produce in a year. 4. Insanely low feed costs. Let me ask you something. You know how much it costs to feed a cow or pigs? The feed bills alone will make you think twice. But goats? These animals are browsers, not grazers. You know what that means? They eat everything. Weeds, shrubs, leaves, kitchen scraps, crop residue you were going to throw away anyway. I'm not saying you don't supplement their diet, especially if you want fast growth or you're managing breeding does. But compared to almost every other livestock, goats are cheap to feed. And in places where you've got bush, unused land, overgrown areas, your goats are literally turning your problems into profit. They're clearing land and gaining weight at the same time. 5. They survive where others can't. Last thing on hidden value, and this one's important especially if you're in a tough climate, or you're just starting out without perfect conditions. Goats are tough, I mean ridiculously resilient. They handle heat, they handle drought better than cattle, they can survive in rough terrain, rocky areas, places where you can't even graze sheep properly. This means lower risk, lower vet bills, less stress. You're not babysitting them 24/7 like you would with some other animals. And for a beginner, that peace of mind is priceless. You're learning, you're building systems, and your goats aren't dying on you because the weather changed. So let's just recap real quick. While most people see goats as meat animals, you're sitting on instant cash flow, a breeding business, a fertilizer side hustle, almost free feed costs, and an animal that refuses to quit on you. Stack all that up, and you start to see why I called this video most underrated farm asset, right? All right, so we've talked about the hidden value, the profit angles most people miss. But let me bring this home for anyone watching who's never farmed a day in their life. Maybe you've got a 9-to-5. Maybe you're a student. Maybe you're just tired of watching other people build wealth while you're stuck. And you're thinking, this sounds good, but I don't know anything about farming. Perfect, because goats are literally designed for people like you. 1. Crazy low startup capital. First thing, and this is big, you don't need thousands of dollars to start. I've seen people get into goat farming with $300 to $500. Seriously. Now, yeah, If you want to go big, buy fancy breeds, build elaborate housing, sure, spend more, but you don't have to. You can start with 2 or 3 female goats. In some markets, you can find local breeds for $60 to $100 each. That's your foundation. Your housing? You can build basic shelter with wood, bamboo, old roofing sheets, whatever's available locally. We're talking another $100 to $200 if you're smart about it. Fencing? Start small. Feeders and waterers? Repurpose old containers. Compare that to poultry, where you need incubators, temperature control, expensive feeds from day one, or fish farming, where you're building ponds, managing water quality, buying aerators. Goats let you start, and starting is half the battle. 2. You don't need a ranch. Second thing, space. You do not need 5 acres of land. You don't even need 1 acre. A small backyard? That can work. I know people raising 5 to 10 goats in spaces smaller than a 2-car garage. Obviously, more space is better, happier animals, easier management. But the point is, lack of land is not your excuse. In urban and semi-urban areas, people are doing this right now. Small plots, rented land, even rooftop setups in some creative cases. The key is proper housing, good ventilation, and managing the space well. Goats are compact. They don't need to roam miles like cattle. They just need to be comfortable and safe. 3. Management is straightforward. Here's the thing about goats that nobody tells you until you actually keep them. They're easy to manage, like genuinely easy. You're not dealing with complex systems. Feed them, give them clean water, keep their shelter dry, check on them daily. That's 80% of the work right there. You don't need a degree in animal science. You don't need years of experience. You need common sense, a willingness to learn, and consistency. That's it. Within a few weeks of keeping goats, you'll understand their behavior. You'll know when something's off. You'll develop a rhythm. And if something does go wrong, there are vets. There are experienced farmers in almost every community. There are online groups and forums. You're not alone. The knowledge is out there, and people share it freely, because the goat farming community is actually pretty welcoming. 4. Flexible selling options. This is underrated. When you raise goats, you have options. You're not locked into one market or one buyer. You can sell live animals at the farm gate. You can take them to livestock markets. You can sell directly to individuals for ceremonies and celebrations. You can sell to butchers and restaurants. You can sell breeding stock to other farmers. You can even sell the manure on the side. That flexibility means you control your cash flow. Need money this week? Sell a goat. Want to wait for festival season when prices go up? Wait. Want to build your herd? Keep the females and sell only the males. You're in the driver's seat. And for a beginner, that control is everything. Plus, there's always demand. Always. People need to eat. Cultures have celebrations. New farmers are starting every day. Goats aren't a gamble like some trendy crop that might or might not sell. The market exists. Your job is just to tap into it. So if you're sitting there thinking, I want to start farming, but I don't have much money, I don't have much space, and I don't really know what I'm doing, goats are your answer. Low cost, small space, easy management, and you can sell whenever you want. Honestly, it's hard to find a better starter animal. Common mistakes new goat farmers make. All right, we've covered why goats are amazing, why they're profitable, why they're perfect for beginners. But let's be real for a second. People still fail at this. And it's not because goat farming is hard. It's because they make the same avoidable mistakes over and over again. So let me save you some money, some heartbreak, and a lot of wasted time. Mistake number 1. Poor housing or no housing at all. First big mistake? Treating housing like it's optional. I've seen people buy goats, tie them to a tree, and call it a day. Or they throw together some rickety structure that falls apart in the first storm. And then they wonder why their goats are getting sick, why kids are dying, why nothing's working. Listen, goats are tough, but they're not indestructible. They need shelter from rain, from extreme heat, from cold nights, from predators. It doesn't have to be fancy, but it has to be functional. Dry floor, good ventilation, enough space so they're not cramped, and secure enough that dogs, thieves, or wild animals can't get in. A proper shelter protects your investment. You spend $300 on goats, and then lose half of them because you didn't want to spend $150 on basic housing? That's just bad business. Do it right from the start. Mistake number 2, overcrowding. Mistake number 2, overcrowding. People get excited, they buy too many goats too fast, they cram them all into a tiny space, and boom, disaster. Goats start fighting, they get stressed, disease spreads like wildfire, and suddenly your dream farm is a nightmare. Here's a simple rule. Each adult goat needs about 15 to 20 square feet of space minimum. That's not a lot, but you have to respect it. If your shelter can comfortably fit 5 goats, don't put 10 in there. Start small, manage well, then scale up as you build more space and gain more experience. Overcrowding doesn't just hurt the goats. It hurts your profits. Stressed animals don't grow well, they don't breed well, they don't produce quality offspring. You're literally sabotaging yourself trying to do too much too soon. Mistake number 3, ignoring health care. Third mistake, and this one kills more goat businesses than almost anything else, ignoring health care. And I don't mean you need a vet on speed dial 24/7. I mean basic, preventative health care. Deworming, vaccinations, hoof trimming, watching for signs of illness. A lot of beginners think, oh, my goats look fine. I'll deal with problems when they happen. But by the time you see the problem, it's often too late or way more expensive to fix. A simple deworming medication might cost you $5. Treating a goat that's dying from a worm overload could cost you $50, and you might still lose the animal. Prevention is cheap. Treatment is expensive. And here's the thing. Most of this stuff is easy. Deworming is straightforward. Vaccines are available. Local vets or experienced farmers can show you how to do basic care yourself. You just have to actually do it. Put it on a schedule. Stick to it. Your goats will thank you by staying alive and making you money. Mistake number 4, buying the wrong breed. Last major mistake, buying the wrong breed for your goals. Not all goats are the same. Some breeds are amazing for meat production, fast growth, big size. Some are incredible for milk. Some are hardy and survive anywhere but grow slower. Some are expensive, high maintenance, need special care. If you're a beginner with a small budget and you buy some fancy imported breed that needs special feed, climate control, and constant attention, you're setting yourself up to fail. On the flip side, if your goal is to sell premium breeding stock and you buy the cheapest local goats with no market demand, also a problem. Do your research. Talk to farmers in your area. Find out what breeds do well in your climate. Find out what the local market actually wants. Match the breed to your goal, your budget, and your experience level. It sounds obvious, but people skip this step all the time and regret it later. So there you have it. 4 massive mistakes that trip up new goat farmers constantly. Poor housing, overcrowding, skipping health care, and buying the wrong breed. All of these are avoidable. All of them come down to planning, learning, and not cutting corners on the basics. And here's the good news. Now that you know these mistakes exist, you're already ahead of 90% of people who jump in blind. Look, if you've made it this far, you're serious about this, and I respect that. Goat farming isn't just some romantic idea about living off the land. It's a real business with real profit potential if you approach it the right way. We covered a lot today. Why goats are underrated, the hidden profit centers most people ignore, why they're perfect for beginners, and the mistakes you need to avoid. But this is just the beginning. Here on Global Farm Value, we're going deep into everything farming. Next video, we're talking about how to actually choose your first goats, what to look for, what questions to ask sellers, how to avoid getting scammed, what breeds make sense for different goals. Real, practical, step-by-step stuff. If you found value in this video, do me a favor. Hit that subscribe button. Turn on notifications, because we're building something here. A community of people who don't just farm, but farm smart. Extract maximum value. Build real wealth. Drop a comment below and let me know. Are you thinking about starting with goats? Already keeping them? What's your biggest question or challenge? I read every comment, and your questions will shape what we cover next. This is Global Farm Value. I'll see you in the next one.